Hello, my friend. Welcome back to our English learning channel. My name is Jay, and today we are going to talk about something very important: how to start a conversation in English. Many English learners tell me, Jay, I know words, I know grammar, but I don't know how to start speaking. I feel nervous. I don't know what to say first. Does this sound like you? Don't worry. Today, I'm here to help you step by step. By the end of this lesson, you will learn exactly how to start a conversation in English, how to feel confident, and how to keep the conversation going. You will hear real-life examples, simple dialogues, and I'll give you small challenges that you can practice right away. Remember, this video is not just for watching. This is for practicing English with me. So, if you really want to learn English, if you want to speak English confidently, and if you want to improve English fast, stay with me until the very end. Let's begin. Starting a conversation feels hard for many learners. When you see someone new, maybe a stranger, maybe a friend, or maybe even a teacher, your brain suddenly becomes nervous. You think too much. You ask yourself, what should I say? What if I make a mistake? What if they don't understand me? This happens to everyone, even to native speakers sometimes. The truth is, starting a conversation is only difficult because of fear, not because of English. You already know many simple words. Hello, how are you? What's your name? These are enough to begin. The secret is not about difficult vocabulary. The secret is about confidence and practice. So today, I want you to forget about being perfect. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need a big vocabulary. You only need a few simple sentences, a friendly smile, and the courage to speak. The first way to start a conversation in English is the simplest one: greetings. Every conversation begins with a greeting. It is like opening the door before you walk into a room. Without a greeting, you cannot enter. The most common greeting is, of course, hello. You can also say hi, which feels a little more casual and friendly. That's it. You can already start a conversation with just one word. But of course, we don't stop there. After hello or hi, we usually ask a simple question. The most common one is, how are you? Let's practice a short example together. You say, hi, how are you? The other person answers, I'm good, thank you, and you? Then you say, I'm fine, thanks. Congratulations. That is already a conversation in English. You started it, you did it. But maybe you don't always want to say how are you all the time. That's why I will teach you some more greetings. Instead of always asking, how are you? You can try saying, how's it going? Which is casual and friendly. Or you can say, how are you doing? Which is polite and common. And if you are talking to friends, you can say, what's up? Which is very casual. Imagine this small exchange. You say, hello, how's it going? The other person replies, pretty good, thanks. How about you? You answer, I'm doing well. Very simple, and you already sound more natural. Now I want to give you a little challenge. After watching this part of the video, I want you to practice these greetings out loud. Don't just read them in your head. Say them with your voice. For example, look at yourself in the mirror and say, "Hi, how are you?" Then try, "Hello, how's it going?" And finally, "What's up?" Why should you do this? Because when you practice out loud, your mouth and tongue learn how to move. You train your brain and your body together. This is how you improve English fast. Let's go further. Imagine you want to talk to a stranger, maybe someone on the bus or at the coffee shop or at school. You can't just say hello and then stop. You need to add something more. A great way to do this is to talk about the situation around you. For example, if you are waiting for the bus, you can say, "Hi, do you know when the next bus is coming?" If you are at the coffee shop, you can say, "Hello, the coffee smells really good here, doesn't it?" If you are in class, you can say, "Hi, is this seat taken?" These are natural and friendly ways to start a conversation. You don't need to be funny or clever. Just notice something simple around you and talk about it. Now, what if the person is not a stranger, but someone you already know, like a classmate or a friend? In that case, you can be even more casual. You can start a conversation with questions about school, hobbies, or daily life. You can say something like, "Hey, did you finish the homework?" Or, "Hi, are you ready for class today?" Or even, "Hello, did you watch the game last night?" With friends, you don't need to be formal. Just speak the way you feel comfortable. Let's try a longer example together. Imagine you are in school and you see a classmate. You say, "Hi, how are you today?" The classmate answers, "I'm fine, thanks." "How about you?" You reply, "I'm good. Did you understand the homework from yesterday?" "How about you?" You reply, "I'm good. Did you understand the homework from yesterday?" The classmate answers, "Not really. It was difficult." You then say, "Yeah, same here. Maybe we can ask the teacher." Look at this conversation. You started it, you continued it, and it feels natural. Notice something important. The grammar is very simple. There are no difficult words, but it is real communication. That is the goal. I want you to remember something important. You don't need perfect grammar to start a conversation. Even if you make a mistake, people will still understand you. The most important thing is to try. When you try, you grow. When you practice, you improve. That's how you move closer to English fluency. So now you know the basics of starting a conversation. Greetings, simple questions, and talking about the situation. But maybe you are thinking, "Jay, what happens after I start? How do I keep the conversation going? How do I stop it from becoming awkward or silent?" That is exactly what we are going to learn in part 2. In the next section, I will show you the secret tricks to continue a conversation, to ask good questions, and to sound natural in English. Are you ready? Let's move to part 2. Part 2. Don't worry, that is exactly what we are going to practice in this part. I will show you how to keep a conversation alive, how to ask good questions, and how to respond naturally so you never feel stuck in silence. The most powerful skill to continue a conversation is asking questions. Questions are the fuel of conversations. Imagine a car. Without fuel, the car cannot move. In the same way, without questions, a conversation cannot move forward. But not every question is good. If you only ask questions with yes or no answers, the conversation becomes short. For example, if you ask, "Do you like pizza?" and the other person says, "Yes," the conversation stops. If you ask, "Are you from here?" and the person answers, "No," again, the conversation stops. So, what should you do? The secret is to ask open questions. Open questions are questions that need more than yes or no. They usually start with words like what, why, how, where, and when. For example, instead of asking, "Do you like pizza?" you can ask, "What kind of food do you like?" Instead of asking, "Are you from here?" you can ask, "Where are you from?" These questions invite the other person to speak more, and this gives you more material to continue talking. Let me show you a small example. Imagine you meet someone new at school. You say, "Hi, how are you?" They answer, "I'm fine, thanks." Now you want to continue. Instead of saying, "Do you live here?" you ask, "Where do you live?" The person answers, "I live near the train station." Now you can continue with another question. "Oh, really? How long have you lived there?" The other person answers, "About 5 years." And now you can add your own comment. "Wow, that's a long time. I just moved here last year." Do you see what happened? The conversation continued naturally because you used open questions and then added your own information. This is a very important rule. When you ask a question, don't just listen silently. Always add a small comment about yourself. This makes the conversation more balanced, not like an interview. If you only ask questions, the other person will feel like they are answering a test. But if you share your own story, it becomes a real conversation. Let's practice another example. You ask, "What do you usually do on the weekends?" The other person answers, "I usually watch movies and spend time with my family." Now you can respond by saying, "Oh, that's nice. I also like watching movies. Last weekend I saw a really funny one." Suddenly, the conversation becomes warmer and more connected. Now, let's talk about another skill, showing interest. People love to talk when they feel you are interested. If you only ask a question and then look away, the conversation dies. But if you react with small words and expressions, it keeps the energy alive. You can say things like, "Really?" or "That's interesting," or "Wow, tell me more." These little phrases are like sunshine in the conversation. They make the other person feel comfortable to keep talking. Imagine this short dialogue. You ask, "Where are you from?" The other person says, "I'm from Brazil." If you just say, "Oh," the conversation feels heavy. But if you say, "Wow, really? That's great. I've always wanted to visit Brazil. What city are you from?" the other person feels excited to continue. Small words of interest can change everything. Here is your second challenge. I want you to practice these short reactions out loud. Say them with me now. "Really? That's interesting. Wow. Tell me more." These words are simple, but they are powerful tools to keep the conversation alive. Practice them until they feel natural in your mouth. Now let's move to another very important part of conversation, talking about common topics. Sometimes learners feel lost because they don't know what to talk about, but in reality, there are many safe and simple topics you can use in almost any situation. You can talk about the weather, about school, about work, about food, about movies, or about hobbies. These are easy topics that everyone can connect to. For example, you can say, "It's really hot today, isn't it?" The other person will probably answer, "Yes, it is." From there, you can continue with, "Do you like summer?" And then maybe, "What season do you like best?" Suddenly you are in a longer conversation. Or imagine you are at school. You can ask, "What subject do you like the most?" The person answers, "I like English." You respond, "Really? Me too. I want to improve my English fast so I can travel." Look at that. You are already connecting with the person. One of the easiest topics is food. Everyone eats, and everyone has opinions about food. You can ask, "What kind of food do you like?" If the person says, "I like Italian food," you can respond with, "Oh, I love pizza and pasta too. What's your favorite dish?" Food is a simple, fun, and safe topic that can keep the conversation flowing naturally. I also want to share another trick with you. When you are in a conversation and you don't know what to say next, you can repeat part of the other person's sentence as a question. For example, if someone says, "I went to the park yesterday," you can respond with, "The park?" The other person will usually continue, "Yes, I went with my family and it was really nice." This is a great way to show interest and to keep the other person talking, even when you don't have new ideas. Remember, my friend, you don't need to be perfect to keep a conversation alive. You just need to ask open questions, share small comments about yourself, use short reactions to show interest, and talk about simple everyday topics. If you do this, you will never run out of things to say. Now, maybe you are thinking, "Okay, Jay, I can start a conversation and now I can continue it. But how do I end the conversation politely? What if I need to leave or I don't know how to finish?" That is a very good question, and we will learn exactly how to do that in part 3. You will discover polite ways to close a conversation, useful expressions to say goodbye, and how to leave the other person with a positive impression. So stay with me, because in the next part we will learn how to end conversations in English without feeling rude or awkward. Part 3. Think about this. Sometimes you are talking with someone, but you need to leave. Maybe you are late for class, maybe you have to go to work, or maybe the bus is about to arrive. Or sometimes the conversation has naturally finished and you just want to close it in a polite way. Many learners don't know how to do this, so they feel nervous and just stop talking. But stopping suddenly can feel rude or awkward. That is why it is important to learn some simple ways to end a conversation. The first and easiest way to end a conversation is to use polite closing sentences. These are little phrases that show the other person you enjoyed talking, but now you must go. You can say something like, "It was nice talking to you," or you can say, "I enjoyed our conversation." These sentences are very polite and they make the other person feel respected. Now, after you say that, you usually add a reason why you need to leave. For example, you can say, "It was nice talking to you, but I need to go now." Or, "I enjoyed our conversation, but I have to run to class." Notice that the word "but" connects the two parts. First, you show politeness. Then, you explain why you are leaving. Another very natural way to close a conversation is to use future language. Future language means you give a signal that you want to meet or talk again another time. For example, you can say, "Let's talk again soon." Or you can say, "See you tomorrow at school," or "I'll text you later." These little sentences show that the conversation is ending now, but it will continue later. It makes the other person feel comfortable, and it builds a friendly connection. Let's practice a short example. Imagine you are talking to a classmate about homework. You say, "Okay, it was nice talking to you, but I need to go now. I'll see you in class tomorrow." The other person replies, "Yes, see you tomorrow." Look how natural that sounds. You ended the conversation politely, and the other person feels good. Another important tip is to always say goodbye clearly. In English, there are many ways to say goodbye. You can say bye, which is short and casual. You can say goodbye, which is a little more formal. You can also say "see you later," or "take care," or "have a nice day." All of these are polite and friendly ways to finish. Let's look at another real-life example. Imagine you are talking with a new friend. You want to leave because you are going to the library. You can say, "It was really nice meeting you. I have to go to the library now. See you later." That's a perfect way to end. Notice again, the structure is the same. Polite sentence first, reason second, and then a goodbye at the end. Here is your next challenge. I want you to practice 3 polite closing sentences right now, out loud with me. Say, "It was nice talking to you." Now say, "I enjoyed our conversation." And finally, say, "See you later." These may feel simple, but they are powerful tools to use in real life. Practice them until they come naturally from your mouth. Sometimes, ending a conversation is not about leaving physically, but about moving the conversation to a close. For example, maybe you are online, texting with someone, and the conversation is slowing down. You can end politely by saying, "I should go now, but let's talk again later." Or, "I need to get some rest, but I'll message you tomorrow." Even in texting, these polite endings are important. They make your English sound confident and friendly. Ending conversations can also be cultural. In some cultures, people like to talk for a very long time, and in others, people prefer to be short. But in English, especially in American and international situations, polite closing sentences are very common. So if you use them, people will respect you, and they will see you as polite and confident. Let's imagine another small role play together. You are in a coffee shop, and you meet someone new. You talk for a few minutes about coffee and hobbies. Now you need to go. You say, "I enjoyed talking with you. I have to go now, but maybe we can have coffee again sometime. The other person smiles and says, yes, that would be nice. See? You didn't just disappear. You ended the conversation in a polite, friendly way, and you even left a possibility to meet again. So now you understand the three main parts of ending a conversation politely. First, you use a polite closing sentence. Second, you give a short reason why you need to leave. Third, you say a clear goodbye. This simple structure works in almost every situation. You can use it at school, at work, with friends, with strangers, even online. I want you to practice this as a mini dialogue challenge. Say it with me now. It was nice talking to you, but I need to go now. See you later. Say it again, but change the goodbye. It was nice talking to you, but I need to go now. Take care. One more time. I enjoyed our conversation, but I need to go. Have a nice day. The more you repeat these, the more confident you will feel when you need to end a conversation in real life. Now, maybe you are wondering, okay, Jay, I know how to start a conversation, I know how to keep it going, and I know how to end it politely, but how do I become truly confident? How do I reach the level where I don't have to think too much, where I can just speak naturally and fluently? That is a very important question, because the real goal is not just to speak. The real goal is to speak English confidently and without fear. And that is exactly what we are going to learn in Part 4. In the next section, I will share with you the secrets to building confidence in English conversations, daily habits you can practice, and powerful tips to improve your English fast so you can feel relaxed and natural every time you speak. So stay with me, because Part 4 is going to change the way you feel about English conversations forever. Part 4. Let me tell you the truth. Confidence does not come from waiting. It does not come from reading books only, and it does not come from hoping that one day you will magically speak. Confidence comes only from practice, repetition, and real experience. The more you practice speaking, the more natural it feels. The less you practice, the more nervous you feel. It's that simple. So, what should you do? First, you must make speaking English a daily habit. Even if you don't have a partner, you can still practice. Talk to yourself in English. Describe your day. For example, in the morning, you can say, I am brushing my teeth. Now I'm making breakfast. I'm going to work. This may feel strange at first, but it trains your brain to think in English. When you think in English every day, starting a conversation becomes much easier. Another habit you can use is the mirror method. Stand in front of a mirror, look into your own eyes, and speak as if you are talking to a real person. You can practice greetings, questions, and polite endings. For example, you can say, "Hi, how are you today?" Then you can answer yourself, "I'm good, thanks. How about you?" This is a great way to build confidence because you are practicing with your voice and body at the same time. If you have friends who are also learning English, make a deal with them. Decide that for 10 minutes every day, You will only speak English to each other. Don't switch back to your native language. Even if you make mistakes, just keep going. These small daily moments will train your brain to use English in real situations. And remember, mistakes are not your enemy. Mistakes are your teacher. Every mistake shows you where you need to improve, and every time you correct yourself, you grow stronger. Now let's talk about fluency. Many learners think fluency means speaking fast, but that's not true. Fluency means speaking smoothly without stopping too much and feeling comfortable in conversation. To improve fluency, you don't need to rush. You only need to keep talking, even if your sentences are simple. For example, instead of stopping to search for the perfect word, you can use easy words you already know. If you don't know the word delicious, you can just say very good. If you don't know the word exhausted, you can say very tired. Simple words still communicate your meaning, and that is the most important part. Here's another secret to fluency: shadowing. Shadowing means listening to a native speaker and repeating what they say immediately, like an echo. You can do this with YouTube videos, podcasts, or even movies. Play a sentence and then repeat it out loud, copying the sound, the rhythm, and the tone. This will help your mouth and ears get used to the natural flow of English. The more you shadow, the more natural you will sound in real conversations. Let's do a small fluency challenge right now. I will say a sentence and I want you to repeat it after me. Ready? Say, "Hi, how are you today?" Now repeat, "I'm good, thanks. How about you?" One more. "It was nice talking to you, but I need to go now." Excellent. The more you repeat these sentences out loud, the more they will become automatic. And when they are automatic, you don't have to think too much. That's when fluency happens. But fluency is not only about practice, it's also about mindset. If you always tell yourself, "I can't speak English, I'm not good enough, I'm afraid of mistakes," then you will block yourself. But if you say, "I can speak English, I can improve every day, I don't need to be perfect," then you open the door to confidence. Your brain listens to your thoughts, so speak kindly to yourself. Encourage yourself. Believe that you can do it, because you can. Think about a child learning to speak. A child does not worry about grammar. A child just speaks, makes mistakes, learns, and tries again. And in time, the child becomes fluent. You can do the same. You are not too old. You are not too late. Every single day you practice, you are one step closer to English fluency. Now I want to give you one final challenge. Tomorrow, I want you to start a small conversation in English. It doesn't need to be long. Maybe you just say, "Hi, how are you?" to a classmate. Or maybe you order food in English. Or maybe you ask a stranger, "Excuse me, what time is it?" The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to try, because every time you try, your confidence grows. And the more you try, the faster you will improve your English. So let's review everything we learned. First, you start a conversation with greetings and simple questions. Second, you continue the conversation by asking open questions, sharing your own ideas, and showing interest. Third, you end the conversation politely by using closing sentences, giving a reason, and saying goodbye clearly. And finally, you build confidence and fluency through daily practice, positive mindset, and real-life speaking. My friend, I want you to remember this. English is not just about words. It is about connection. When you speak English, you are not just practicing grammar. You are sharing your ideas, your feelings, your personality. You are building bridges with people from around the world. And that is a beautiful thing, so don't be afraid. Don't wait for the perfect time. Start small, start today, and keep going every day. You will make mistakes, but you will also make progress. And one day, you will look back and realize that you are speaking English confidently, naturally, and fluently. Thank you for learning with me today. If you enjoyed this lesson, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. And remember, practice every day, because every small step brings you closer to English fluency. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep practicing, keep smiling, and keep speaking English with confidence.